Well, that was short-lived. Last week, House Freedom Caucus member Representative Matt Rosendale of Montana threw his hat into the ring in the Republican U.S. Senate primary in Montana. But his latest Senate bid didn't last long, less than a week to be exact. He announced his candidacy on Friday, February 9th, but then on Thursday, February 15th, announced that he was abandoning the Senate bid. So what happened? Trump happened. As I noted on the show last week, while figures including Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, Senator Mike Lee of Utah, and Representative Andy Biggs of Arizona had endorsed Rosendale, Trump endorsed Tim Sheehy. In his statement announcing that he was scrapping his Senate bid, Rosendale said, and I quote, "By my calculations, with Trump endorsing my opponent and the lack of resources, the hill was just too steep." End of quote. On this episode, I'm going to show you Rosendale's statement and highlight 2 times Trump endorsed Rosendale in the past. I'm also going to discuss NATO and some of the comments Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin made in a statement. Also, did you know that there is such a thing as the Office of Climate Change and Health Equity within the Department of Health and Human Services? I'm going to show you a video of Rachel LaVine talking about it. But first, if you enjoyed the news and conservative views that I do, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel and follow me over on X, the platform previously known as Twitter. Okay, so let me switch my camera over here and show you Rosendale's statement. All right, here it is. So, Rosendale put out this statement, and he said, instead of one of those phony statements from politicians, here's my statement on why I'm withdrawing my candidacy for the U.S. Senate. As everyone knows, I have planned to run for the U.S. Senate and to win both the primary and the general election. However, the day I announced, President Trump then announced that he was endorsing a different candidate. I have long been a supporter of the president and remain so, but I have been forced to calculate what my chances of success would be with Trump supporting my opponent. This race was already going to be tough as I was fighting against Mitch McConnell and the rest of the Republican establishment in Washington, but I felt like I could beat them as the voters do not agree with them choosing who would be the next U.S. Senator from Montana. However, by my calculations, with Trump endorsing my opponent and the lack of resources, the hill was just too steep. I spoke with Senator Daines earlier this week, and we both agree that this is the best path forward for Republicans to regain the majority in the U.S. Senate. Over the next few days, I will be back home in Montana with my family and will prayerfully consider what is next. So there you have it. Basically, slightly less than a week after announcing, like I said, he launched his bid on February 9th, announcing it, and then that was a Friday, and then on a Thursday, boom, he's out. Just to remind you, if you didn't see it already, or if you didn't watch my show last week where I talked about Trump endorsing Tim Sheehy, here's what he said. I'm not going to read you the whole thing again, but basically, he endorsed Tim Sheehy, and he said, "I also respect Matt Rosendale and was very happy to endorse him in the past, and will endorse him again in the future should he decide to change course and run for his congressional seat. But in this instance, Tim is the candidate who is currently best positioned to defeat lazy John Tester and regain the Republican majority in the United States Senate." So, in the past, Trump has endorsed Rosendale. You can see here, this is on Ballotpedia, in the 2018 Republican primary of U.S. Senate. So Rosendale ran for Senate in 2018, and he lost. He won the Republican primary, but, so he won the Republican primary, and then Trump endorsed him. And you can see here, this is after the primary, because the primary was June 2018, and here's Trump endorsing him in September 2018. And he said he has my full and complete endorsement. Then Rosendale lost the general election to incumbent Democratic Senator John Tester, who's also up for re-election again this year. And you can see here, Rosendale lost that election for Senate in 2018. Then, in 2020, Trump endorsed Rosendale when Rosendale ran for House seat. You can see here, Matt has my total endorsement. This was in February 2020. Before the primary, which was in June 2020, which Rosendale won that Republican primary for the House seat, and he went on to win the general election in 2020. So, that is some history on that. Leave a comment, let me know what you think about all that. But yeah, so also, like I said, I'm going to talk about a bit about NATO here. There's a statement that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has here that says, here, NATO is the strongest military alliance in history and is crucial for America's continued security. As President Biden has noted, NATO is built on the fundamental principles of freedom, security, and national sovereignty. A secure America is impossible without a strong NATO. Let me know what you think about that. Do you agree or disagree with Secretary Lloyd Austin claiming that a secure America is impossible without a strong NATO, and that it's crucial for America's continued security? I mean, I think America could should be able to defend itself. Let me show you also here. He said, the United States will continue to stand with our NATO allies and to defeat the sovereignty and the territory. I'm sorry, let me try that again. The United States will defend. Well, okay, I'm just going to start over. He said, the United States will continue to stand with our NATO allies and to defend the sovereignty and the territory of every alliance member, every inch of it, as President Biden has repeatedly made clear. Our commitment to Article 5 remains ironclad. Now, it doesn't really seem like a great plan for the United States to be defending territory of other countries. Let me know what you think about that. I mean, do you think the United States should be basically saying that it will defend the every inch of the territory of NATO alliance members? Just FYI, here's a list of NATO member countries. We're talking Albania, Belgium, Bulgaria, Canada, Croatia. Look at all these countries here. You can go down the list here. Turkey, United Kingdom, Slovenia, Slovakia, Romania, Montenegro, the Netherlands. So, would you, as an American, be interested in having the U.S. go to defend the territory of all these countries? Let me read to you here, what is Article 5? Okay, so here is Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty. So it says, the parties agree that an armed attack against one or more of them in Europe or North America shall be considered an attack against them all, and consequently they agree that if such an armed attack occurs, each of them in exercise of the right of individual or collective self-defense recognized by Article 51 of the Charter of the United Nations, will assist the party or parties so attacked by taking forthwith, individually and in concert with the other party, such action as it deems necessary, including the use of armed force, to restore and maintain the security of the North Atlantic area. Now, obviously there is, logic behind having allies and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem like a great plan to, that we would want to defend all these countries should they be attacked. With the Ukraine thing, I oppose this, money we've been shoveling into Ukraine. And one of the things people that are supporting it keep saying is, if we don't do this, if we allow Russia to invade Ukraine, then they might invade a NATO country, and then we're going to be in a war. Well, if we weren't in NATO, then that wouldn't really be on the table unless we just chose to go to war anyway. I mean, I don't think this is a great plan to have this alliance where basically we could end up getting sucked into a war in Europe. Let me know what you think about all that. Also, one more thing from that here. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said, allies also must continue to invest in their defense industrial bases, which is crucial to the future strength of the alliance. All right, so that is some stuff from there. Let me move on here to this. Okay, so there is this clip, this video of Rachel LaVine, as you know, a man who identifies as a female. Let me play you this clip.
Climate change is having a disproportionate effect on the physical and mental health of Black communities. Black Americans are more likely than white Americans to live in areas and housing that increase their susceptibility to climate-related health issues. And 65% of Black Americans report feeling anxious about climate change's impact. Through our Office of Climate Change and Health Equity and the Office of Environmental Justice, we're working with providers and community leaders to identify innovative approaches that empower communities to address the health consequences linked to climate change.
So, did you know that there is an Office of Climate Change and Health Equity? Look at this. This is on hhs.gov. It says the Office of Climate Change and Health Equity addresses the impact of climate change on the health of the American people. Over here is this video that has Rachel LaVine discussing this office. Let me show you that.
I'm Dr. Rachel LaVine, the Assistant Secretary for Health at HHS. And this new office demonstrates the commitment of the Biden administration to both addressing climate change, which is the existential crisis facing everyone on Earth, as well as health equity. The impacts of climate change are disproportionately borne by the disadvantaged around the world and here in the United States. Many already disadvantaged communities currently bear the brunt of climate-induced risks, from extreme heat, poor air quality, flooding, extreme weather events, to vector-borne diseases. While the impacts of climate change will be felt by all Americans, they will be deeper and longer lasting among the poor, people of color, and other vulnerable populations. Addressing climate change for the long term can also lower Americans' risk of premature death and other serious health effects from air pollution in the short term. The Office of Climate Change and Health Equity will play a pivotal role in protecting our health, the health of our communities, and the health of our world.
So there you go, folks. Now you know there is an Office of Climate Change and Health Equity at HHS. So yeah, it's your tax dollars at work or not at work. So, all right. So did you see the video of President Joe Biden talking about shrinkflation, the phenomenon where companies charge the same amount of money for a product but shrink the size of it? So, you know, your whatever, your cookies, your chips, as you can see up here, whatever it might be, gets a little bit smaller, but you keep paying the same amount. And he's telling them to stop that. So it's like, well, you know, maybe it would be helpful if there would be, you know, if we would stop inflating the currency, and maybe they would stop that. But here you go.
Sports drinks bottles are smaller. A bag of chips has fewer chips, but they're still charging you just as much. And as an ice cream lover, what makes me the most angry is that ice cream cartons have actually shrunk in size, but not in price. I've had enough of what they call shrinkflation. It's a ripoff. Some companies are trying to pull a fast one by shrinking the products little by little and hoping you won't notice. Give me a break. The American public is tired of being played for suckers. I'm calling on companies to put a stop to this. Let's make sure businesses do the right thing now.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's not like Biden and Democrats are the only people responsible for massive government spending. Obviously, Republicans and former President Donald Trump have also been involved in massive government spending. But anyway, yeah, so there's Biden talking about shrinkflation. Senator Joe Manchin is not going to be running for president. Here's a clip of him saying that.
I will not be seeking a third-party run. I will not be involved in a presidential run.
So he's not going to run, just FYI on that. Here is this guy, Alan Sugar. He put up this picture of a COVID test. And he said, since the start of COVID, I have had 6 Pfizer injections. So much for that. This is the second time I've caught it. So, yeah, that's somebody catching COVID twice just by getting 6 jabs. Also, just something for you here. There is this this Principles First, a summit that's coming up. They're calling it an alternative to CPAC. And if you look at who is going to be speaking at this, Adam Kinzinger, Asa Hutchinson, John Kasich, George Conway. You remember, you may remember that Asa Hutchinson was just running for president not too long ago, and he basically got less than 200 votes in Iowa caucuses. So that's going on there. All right, so a couple funny things here. James Woods put out this thing here that's talking about world population born from women, and it's got this number. Wow, and then people born from men, 0. So, and he says, it says, feel free to fact check. I mean, yeah, I don't know if that world population figure is anywhere near accurate, but that the fact that 0 people have been born from men, that is accurate. And also, you know, it was just Valentine's Day, so I thought I would share this. Will I be your Valentine? No. All right, thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please remember, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me over on X, the platform previously known as Twitter. And I will see you all in another video either next Saturday or possibly before that. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a comment or a thumbs up. Hopefully that might help out, push it to more people, and grow the channel. So I'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.